We are Witches Who Podcast.
Hey, Shelby.
Hey, Dee. Do you have a weird story for me?
You know what? I do. This happened like a couple of weeks ago, I think. But it was so interesting. I was outside. Well, first, I think we need this little bit other information. So both of my boys were home. It was during the week, like I want to say it was like 4 o'clock. So not dark time, but we're going into the evening. And I remember very clearly that they were watching The Big Bang Theory. And I don't know if you ever heard that, the Kitty song that Sheldon likes. It, like, that's soft kitty, you know.
Yeah, soft kitty, warm kitty.
Little bowl of fur, something kitty, purr, purr, purr. Okay, so that one, and it was like, I was going to walk out because I had put some stuff to hang dry outside, and I was going to go get it. And I hear, the song and all that. And I was like, oh, no, kitty, kitty, kitty. So when I started to walk outside through our deck to go grab the things that I had hung up, I have that dancer tree in the back. And I just got this really strong feeling. And I was like, show me my power. Like, I want a sign of like my power, right? I was feeling really good that day. Like it was a warm day with that warm wind around. I don't know. It was just feeling like really good, like very hugged by spring. And this was before the spring equinox. Like I think it was right before. So I'm when you have seen the outside of my house, like there's that little courtyard before you kind of come up into the garden area. So I was by the courtyard, and there's this rosemary bush in the courtyard, like in the middle. But my back is kind of towards, like to my back and like my right side. Right. Like, it's like I'm facing like the side of the house because that's where I have hung up a couple of things. And I had just said that, about show me my power. And then when I'm grabbing the things, I'm like literally moving my head like, soft kitty. Like I just thought of that. And as soon as I said soft kitty, like that, I saw this black jaguar. Like literally, like I saw it like next to, like in the corner of my eye, and it startled me. And like I turned and I was like, oh, and I was like, wait. Okay. I'm like, I just asked for something. Like, what was this? And I'm not one to ask for poltergeists or things that I want to see. So I'm not that. I was like, and then I was like, okay, just relax into this energy. Like, okay, I wasn't scared. Like it startled me. Like if suddenly, a dog would have like run through or something. It. Yeah. But when I saw it, I was just like, I could see it clearly. And it had like yellow eyes, and I could see like big paws and going. And I was like, okay. So I took a moment, I grabbed my little things, and I started walking up the garden, and I looked back at the tree. And the leaves were just going, the wind just picked up. And I was like, okay, I'm being reminded of my power with this moment. So I was like, I used to go, when I would see things, I would go into fear. Like it used to be like the way of going. And now I'm more sitting with it. It's like, I don't have to revert to old patterns of it. Yes. So I knew initially it was like, okay, just sit with it, be with it. And I went, but then I told my husband, because it was like so impactful. Like I could see the details.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, was this already preparing me for it? Because I happened to see the TV, like the kitty song. And then Ramses is a black Bombay cat with yellow eyes, which I always think he's like a little jaguar. Oh, totally. But seeing it, like it was so close that it almost felt, like the warmth, like the present. Wow. So I think I was cooking matcha, making myself a matcha tea. And I told my husband, because I was all like smiling.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, like what's going on? And I was like, do you think I'm crazy if I do something like really insane? And he's like, oh, hon, you're already crazy. And I was like, and I told him, and he's like, wow, okay. He didn't like,
like roll his eyes or anything.
He was nothing like that. I was like, oh man, he's accepting my,
I love that.
It was so weird that it was so, I know I saw it.
Yeah.
I know it was not a vision or a pudding, like a figment of my imagination in any way. I know what I saw. So I'm just like, whoa, it was you that you asked for things. I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll, pee poo your pants.
Hey, ask and you shall receive, right?
Oh, yeah. But it was just like that feeling of like, oh, just like show me my power, right? It's just like, or when somebody asks of like, show me a sign, and then like,
it's instant.
Yes. And but I wasn't really, I had no expectation. Like it was just something I said. I was feeling really good too. Like I was just like enjoying the day. And then for it to come like that, it was just like,
that is
it would have been probably nicer if it was like a butterfly fluttering around me
but
rather than
as
a jaguar.
though,
I know.
Yeah.
So I do feel a lot of just like that jaguar.
Well, yeah, that cat energy, when you're a Leo, just all of it.
I
Yeah,
know.
it makes total sense to me.
But
That is a cool story. And I love that Mike just like totally was like, yeah, that probably happened. You know?
Yes.
I love that. It's actually, I have a funny story too. Like that just reminded me with Christian, like he, knows that I'm obsessed with ghosts and all the stuff and paranormal everything and anything and everything I get my hands on that's weird and freaky. But the other day we were downstairs. It's just like a couple of days ago, actually. We were downstairs just on the couch talking or whatever. I think he was cooking or something. I don't know. And all of a sudden you hear clear as day footsteps upstairs. Clear as day. And it was just us. We were downstairs, nobody else in the house. And you hear it very like, it wasn't like, the bangs or the creaks. No, it was very clearly like.
It wasn't the dogs. No.
Well, that's where I was going, what we thought.
Oh.
So like very clear, like literally like you hear like one step after the other, and it was loud. And I was like, and I pointed up at the ceiling and I looked up and looked at Christian because he like recognized it too. And I was like, do you hear that? He's like, yeah. I was like, that's footsteps. He goes, that's Dozer. And I didn't see Dozer, which is our other dog, not Tucker. And I was like, and then I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Cause I'd never heard it very like footsteppy like that before. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's probably Dozer. And then he walks around the couch. He's like, oh no, Dozer's in his bed right here. Oh. And he looks at me and I was like, see, like I told you. And then we just dropped the conversation because I was like, I don't want to push it. Yeah. I don't want to freak him out. But I'm like, I'm telling you, like.
He's like, I live downstairs now.
Yeah. Like it's not just creaks in the house. Like I'm telling you, like that was footsteps. Like he recognized it as footsteps first before I did. So yeah,
How funny.
Like, okay, he's good.
What did he say? He was just like, let that conversation go. And it's like, oh, look at what's on TV, or
like,
look at this game.
He just went back to doing what he was doing. Yeah. We just totally dropped the conversation. I was like, okay, he'll come around. He's gonna see it. Yeah. It was clearly like somebody was walking up here.
He probably doesn't want to engage in that because then what if it materializes and then
if you acknowledge it, then it and that's probably my problem is because I'm definitely I talk to it all the time. Yeah. Are you still here? Like I come home, I'm like, I'm home now. Like literally, like I just like it's a real person. So that's totally probably why it's happening. But I mean, it doesn't feel like bad energy. So So Christian might come around too. So I like that. Mike gives me hope.
Yeah. I don't know. This was outside. And it
wasn't in your home.
Yeah, it wasn't in my home. It'd be different. It's like, hello, I'm home. It's like, what?
Like, who are you talking to? The ghost.
It's next to you. Turn left.
Now it's kind of like a joke where it's like, oh, it's the ghost. Like all the time. I'm like, oh, now he's going to start using the ghost as an excuse. Like, oh, the ghost didn't do the laundry or something.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. That is too funny. Well, hello, everyone. I am Dee.
Oh, that's right. I'm Shelby. And we are Witches Who Podcast.
Hello.
For that really long intro, Dee has a really fun and exciting... Actually, I'm not going to say fun or exciting. It's exciting, but I think it's going to be deep. Like, I think we're going to get into it with this.
I don't know if we will find necessarily any... Well, definitely witchy. I feel there'll be that witchy part. Weird, I don't know. It'll be up to you. But
I can make anything weird.
I love that. But today we're diving into female competition, rivalry, among women. And when I had discussed with you, Shelby, about, hey, would we consider doing an episode on this, had been after me attending an all women event and they were talking about like the female competition. And I thought, you know what, that could be a good episode because a lot of female listeners and followers that we have. So and we all struggle with this at some
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's just, break this open and really chat about it. And of course, we're gonna, as always, do a little bit of research and kind of go with what the web tells us about it. But I would really like Shelby, your input on this and what your thoughts are. So
I have a lot of opinions on everything, so I'll be happy to share them.
yeah. So with this is like so interesting, right? Like the origins of. Sorry, everybody. I have my computer here. I'm going to have to bring it up because.
So there's no longer a paper in front of her face.
It's
It's now her computer
in
screen.
front of my face. Okay. Sorry. So,
I love it so much.
So I'm
Look
just
at all
trying
those
to,
fun
it's like-
stickers too. Sorry if you're not watching the video.
Podcast.
Love it.
Yeah, I think this one, our friend Michaela gave it to me. It says, my crystal ball. What is it? Oh, my crystal ball says you're full of it. Full of poop, literally. Okay. But origins of female rivalry. So female competitiveness predates the race for a seat at the boardroom table. So there was a research from 2021 that indicates that when women try, is this messing with the video? Sorry.
No, I don't know.
Tried to undermine each other's success, it may be based on an evolutionary instinct to compete for limited resources like food, shelter, and a mate.
That makes total sense.
But unlike men who were also being for assets, women in some cultures couldn't place themselves in harm's way because of their childbearing roles. So I know. So instead, and I have like a really strong opinion on something here, especially with childbearing roles. So instead, some developed adversary skills that were less direct and more manipulative. And that's why there's a lot of like, women are so manipulative.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I want to kind of share is that, yes, like women couldn't put themselves in harm's way because of their childbearing roles. But then back in the day, around this
Forgot
time,
to close the window.
I know.
Whoops. Sorry,
Do we
everyone.
need to close it?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yay. Outside noises.
Or the Amazon truck dropping off my latest order. Anyways.
So right, back in the days, like, yeah, you can't put you can't be in harm's way because you're childbearing. That's all you're good for.
Yeah.
And that's how they treated women. Like, we have to fight for equality for like the longest time and still till this day. And we are portals for life.
Yeah.
We literally are that. It's like, okay, let it be a world full of men.
Yeah.
You're all gonna die.
Well, and yeah, exactly. Literally.
And that's like, but not like, they can survive for a long time, but eventually the
die
species
off.
will, there's no way to reproduce. So I was like, why did they treat us so horribly?
Yeah. And I think there's also a difference between like, okay, there's a way to like honor the woman, right? Like that sacredness of you being childbearing, of giving life. And I think like, when you think about ancient Egypt even, and they honored, their women in a totally different way.
Yeah.
But yes, they were childbearing and they may have been oppressed, I'm sure, to some degree.
Yes.
But also it was just totally different. And I feel like in modern society, like we had this weird time period where it was like, like the 50s housewife, like you can't do anything. And because we were so kind of like pushed to the side that all you're good for is like running a household and having babies, that we came into this like gnarly, like we overcorrected and we went hardcore into the masculine. And what is the masculine? It's competition, it's scarcity, it's all of these things, competing for a woman, right? Competing for that job title, competing for a man, competing, that's where we went. And so now it's like, how do we find equality in a new way? Like, I think that I don't like thinking about like, somebody's going to totally kill me for this one, but it's like, yes, I believe in equal rights, 100% of the game. But at the same time, we're not the same.
Yeah.
Like we can't expect to be, in certain positions. Like, do we think we can run a company just as well as a man? 100% better even. But again, we're still different and we need different things, and I think about this all the time, especially like childbearing and everything else. Like a man doesn't have to worry about 90% of the shit a woman has to worry about.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Their capacities are so much more limited because of that. right? Like they still live in this like very simple world, regardless of what anybody wants to say, because unless you've been in the brain of a woman, you don't understand, right?
Absolutely.
So,
And also, like you said, like we're very different, but like even the male till this day operates under like the provider role.
Yeah, totally.
Like a lot, like I'm thinking of my grandparents, right? Like my grandpa was just a provider.
Yeah.
That's all he needed to do. He just needed clean clothes and good food and everybody taken care of. My grandma had to think how she was going to, on a very low income that my grandpa did bring in, like all their 9 kids, like they always had they had something, clean clothes and stuff like that. But she had to figure it out how to stretch that penny to go a long way.
keep
to
everybody
feed.
alive.
Yes. And he was just like, hey, I bring the money, you figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and like you were saying, yes, can a woman run a company successfully? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, equally or even better than a man. Yes. And even better in some ways because she can do it while pregnant.
Yeah,
She can do it
exactly.
while ovulating. She can do it while on her cycle. Massive, debilitating cramping and still show up.
Yeah.
And a man doesn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
In addition to a mental health a disorder that may be going on, severe anxiety, depression, stress, things like that, okay, a male does it as well, but he doesn't have the moon cycles like a woman does.
Exactly.
Doesn't have
This
the
intense
periods.
fluctuation of
Yes.
hormones constantly. And
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
So like in the beginning, right? Like the competitives for like the food, the shelter and the mates. But even though like, I feel like back in the day,
like caveman times.
yeah, even then, maybe then they were a little bit more aggressive, I would say, but a little bit after where women came together, they really created this community where you know, there was probably somebody like, oh, I like that mate. And then the other was like, I like her, I like him too. And then, you know.
It's like the expression, it takes a village.
Yes.
Right? Like that's totally like that village mentality of, community of all of us helping each other. And even like you think of indigenous tribes, like that was what you did. You had babies and everybody took care of the babies. Like you weren't even exclusively breastfeeding your own kids. Everybody pitched in and it really was like a group, a village taking care of, collective environment.
It's so interesting that you touch on that because I was recently talking to a friend and who's also a doula, and she had a client who was breastfeeding very little. Her milk hasn't come in. And she had a friend who had just given birth and she was having her friend breastfeed. And she happened to mention it to her doctor, the woman that didn't have the supply that much. And the doctor almost like killed her. Like,
why?
Because it's like, you don't know what the other woman is eating and which that's the concern now, but in like a village, but still, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings around that. Like, if you know the person, now there's also a lot in our DNA based from our like environment and people, if they are, opted to be, which no judgment, but if you decide to be vaccinated or not vaccinated, that may have like, I don't know if it has an impact. I'm not a professional in that lactation field or anything, but I just thought it was so unfair for this doctor to, my friend was saying that her client was like in tears when she was like telling him, like, I haven't been able to breastfeed, but my friend did. And she thought she was going to get a good response. And the doctor gave him like
way to use your resources.
Yes.
Instead.
But it,
which I can't, see, this is hard. This is a hard one. Cause I've even in my mind now, I'm listening to you, I'm like going back and forth. Like when you think of the village, right? The ancient times or just a long time
they're all
ago,
eating the same
they're all
thing.
eating the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was also way cleaner. You didn't, the men provided what they provided in the story.
And everybody ate the same. So you know that. And nowadays it's different.
What if they, who knows? That's hard.
It is.
But don't they have like breast milk banks?
Well, here's the thing, my dear. Breast milk is very expensive, very expensive. So here in San Diego, there are certain organizations like the nonprofit that I'm with. We have a milk donor program where we connect overproducers with underproducers. And again, we don't test the milk. Like we are just connecting mama to mama.
Yeah.
But if you want to buy breast milk, and I have a few friends that have purchased it, it's extremely expensive. And then there's people that do lactate just to sell it, which I get it. Everybody has to make a buck. But like UCSD here in San Diego, as long as you're under their care, I believe, while you're there, they'll give you all the milk. But as soon as they have a bank, but as soon as you're out, I believe you have to pay for it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know, but I know if I had like, a baby, like I would trust you if we both had babies at the same time, right? But even though you eat some stuff,
you eat Cheetos,
you eat Cheetos, I know,
whatever.
My grapes
my root
with
beer.
my grapes,
Olive oil and peanut butter.
Suddenly, like my kid starts liking Cheetos. Your kid, you're like,
likes
what is
grapes
my
and
kid
weird
liking?
shit.
Oh my gosh, that
Sour
would be so
cream
funny.
and
I
chips.
know. Oh my gosh, that is too funny. But I get it. That is a tough one, right?
Yeah, that is a hard one.
Yes.
It goes back and forth. Yeah.
But
It's like I want that to be like, I want to be like, yeah, that's amazing. But then I start to really think, I'm like, yeah, okay, that would scare me a little bit,
because imagine how cool if we lived in different times, right?
Yeah.
You're like at the supermarket and it's like, oh, I have to get baby's crying. I have to get home because I'm making bottle. And there's another woman who's breastfeeding her baby. And it's like,
just like,
I'll feed.
here.
Yeah. And she's like, just give me the baby. I'll feed baby right now. My baby just ate. Cool.
Yeah.
Like how cool
Yeah.
to be able to have that much trust,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
But
what's the country? Is it Sweden or somewhere where they literally like park their babies outside in their strollers and like go inside and like,
what?
oh my God, I gotta look. We were just talking about this with somebody the other day.
Wait, you put your baby outside?
Yeah,
to
there's like
get fit?
stroller parking,
Okay.
like at grocery stores and just stores, and you just leave your baby in the stroller and you just go do whatever.
Who's watching these babies?
I don't know. I don't think anybody. They just chill and
Just like, hey, baby, I'll be right back.
yeah.
I'm going to go get some
There's
groceries.
just people just walk by and like make sure they're not crying and stuff. Like it's literally just like that's how the community is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's like a whole country. I got to figure out what is it
man.
Sweden or
I don't
want to say it's Sweden.
I don't
know.
think I've ever heard of this.
Yeah, it's really really interesting.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look it up and I'll get back to you.
I was
on that,
watching the Call the Midwife, and they would put the babies to get sun. So they'll be inside the house and they'll put the babies in the pram outside in their
Yeah,
little
that
stroller
makes
and she
sense,
just gets sun and
yeah.
that's all it's good. And no baby
Tucker does.
got snatched.
The
you know?
baby got stolen. See that you could never do that here.
Yeah.
Like
And that episode
No.
one did, but there was a reason.
well, it's the drama. You gotta something had to happen.
You have to.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Okay, sorry. Going back. Okay, so we go all around. But a 2016 abstract of interviews with 30 college women found that females today compete to demonstrate they've achieved feminine ideals
Interesting.
in areas such as consumerism,
Yeah.
media portrayals,
The influencer movement.
perfection seeking, and relationships. Competitive behaviors might not be as direct in females as they are in males, but according to an older study, they are also less likely to fizzle. The study found that women are less prepared than men to resolve their conflicts with same-sex peers.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've read it. Maybe it was a study. I don't remember where women are just a lot more passive aggressive, whereas most men are super direct.
Yeah.
Where they'll just address the problem, and most women like beat around the bush, kind of thing. And so then it just like
Having
gets
you
pushed
figure
away.
it out.
Yeah,
You should know
why I'm mad. Yeah, exactly.
If you don't know, I don't know how to help you.
yeah,
I don't know what to say.
it's like how often do we really do that? You know?
I don't know, probably when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
But
totally.
just smacking myself.
I've totally done that to my husband. I don't ever remember like really fighting with another girl. I mean, other than my sister, obviously. Like we fight all the time about dumb stuff that doesn't matter. But yeah, I remember doing that. I mean, obviously I met my husband when I was like 13 years old, so I was petty as crap, let's be real. I was a teenager, even in, and I remember doing that, just being like mad at him for like a week, and he's like, I have no idea. And I didn't even remember by the end, you know, but I was like, I was mad. I had the precedent to stand on.
It's like, I need to continue this.
Yeah. I'm like, I
I
don't
want to hang
remember.
out with him, but
I have to be mad and long enough for him to do something else so that I can be mad about something.
so I cannot be mad, you know,
Oh my gosh.
for what I already forgot, so you can remember that one.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So signs. I'm definitely next time not bringing the computer. This is ridiculous. Sorry, people. Signs of female competition. The instinct to one up each other persists today. If you experience conflict between female friends or female jealousy in the workplace, it may be rooted in survival-oriented competitiveness or ideals. If your female peers are competing with you, it might seem like they're just being mean. They may engage in behaviors like gossiping, negativity, sabotaging, gaslighting, noisiness, boasting. What's boasting?
Like boasting.
Yeah, boasting.
Oh, yeah.
Boasting.
Yeah, like
being bossy.
No, like talking, like
Talking crap.
no, like all these things, like you're like boasting about yourself, like you're talking about all these great things.
Great things they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a new word for me. I did not know. Mimicking, downplaying your success, discrediting you in front of others. The goals of these behaviors would be to reposition you further down in the social rank so you're less able to secure the assets than that your rival wants. For your ancestors, those assets might have included a mate to hunt for food and provide protection. Women still compete for mates, but now they also might vie for athletic dominance, a promotion at work, or popular appeal. And I get it. And social media is just so bad with all this. That's why we have like so much stress. And I'm not the good enough because, you know, Betty over here online is doing fantastic. But I'm all like, you don't know Betty's real life. That's
what she chooses to show you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I've met some few influencers that are like, just, you know, really like hardcore, have difficult lives.
Yeah.
Like things are like, oh, it's exhausting to do it. But I've done it for so long that it's like, I have to keep it up. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I think like a lot, like listening to you talk, like I think a lot of us do this like totally unconsciously.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's so hardwired in you, like maybe even passed down through generations of just like, you know, constantly being in competition with women, but you just automatically do this stuff like gossiping. Like nobody teaches you how to gossip, right? Like, I mean, I guess it kind of is a learned behavior, but it's like everybody else around you is doing it. Like, where does it start? It starts pretty early on as a girl, right? Like middle school, even younger, maybe depending, right? And it's all why? Because we're fighting to be popular. We're fighting to be, I don't know what, attention.
We don't feel good enough in ourselves that we have to talk about somebody else.
Yeah, we have to bring somebody else down so that we look better.
Yeah.
And that is so counterproductive.
It is. It is. I remember in high school, my mom one time, she's like, who's going to be your best friend this week? She would tell, and I realized when she said that, I was like, but it wasn't me choosing the friends. It was just, I had this one friend and we were best friends for like the longest time. But suddenly she would like be pissed at me and be best friends with somebody else. And then she would be best friends with, and I would just hang out with anybody. Like I was pretty neutral, but she was one of my most consistent friends. But then she would be, and later on I realized that she was quite abusive because I do remember, I remember one time she cut my hair. She's like, I'm gonna cut your hair and this and that. And and I remember, and I was like, wow, that was actually kind of like not cool. And it's like, well, you wanted it like this and blah, and like gaslighting and things. And I realized, and I remember she always had a thing with her weight. She was like always wanting to like lose the weight. And she, for me, she was a beautiful curvy woman, you know. I don't, if you look at a picture of her, you'd be like, she is not overweight in any way, but she just had that. And she would always like criticize me and be like, why are you so, and I've been like a twig since forever,
Yeah.
you know, well, you're skinny, oh, I hate you. And then she's like, oh, I'm joking, ha ha ha, you know. And I was just like, I think wanting like that validation that I was somebody's friend and things like that, like, because I think everybody was like in the popular group in a way, but it was not healthy. And I realized it later on, and, you know, and now we're like friends on Facebook and, you know, hello, happy birthday, things like that. But I remember she also, I don't have any brothers. So guys were a lot of my best friends, and she loved this guy for like ever. Oh my gosh. And she would speak just crap about anybody that would, you know, that he kind of liked or dated and stuff like that. And so it was that gossip, and even people that she knew that her, you know, friends and things like that, she ended up dating him at the end. Like she ended up, she did, but she couldn't, because he was, even at that time, by the time they were dating, I was more friends with him. And he's like, I don't know what I did to mess this up. Like at the end, I think she sabotaged herself, and then they broke up, you know, and all that. So
it's
I
so
was like,
sad how some people just have this like this tendency to be self-destructive in that way too. It's interesting. Like I wonder.
I think it's an insecurity.
And I think it boils down to insecurity for sure. Because I think that we, like as women, have so many, like we've put so much pressure on ourselves to be all of these things. And then with social media and just everything in general, like even not even just social, just the media in general, you know, with all these celebrities, and this is how you should look, and this is the most beautiful woman. It's just like what like People magazine or something rates like, oh, the most, you know, beautiful man or the most beautiful woman in the world. And it's like, really?
The sexiest
like,
man alive or something.
It's like, okay, so now everybody has to try really hard to look like that. Or, you know what I mean? And it's just like, why do we put so much pressure on ourselves? And then you know, and I think as a kid too, like, or as, you know, a teenager or whatever, everybody is kind of like you have such a narrow like view on the world at that point, where it's like your entire world is your school, right? Or the people that are around you. And you don't realize like you're basing all of everything on like the opinion of like one dude, right? The one popular guy that everybody wants to date because he's super cute, and whatever he likes is what every single girl has decided that is beautiful and has to be that, right? Like, or just whatever the era is. Like we went through like an Abercrombie phase, right? So it's like everybody had to wear Abercrombie. You had to straighten your hair. If you weren't blonde, then you just weren't, you know, it. Like all that, right? And so like everybody had to do, you know, had to go get the jean skirts and straighten your hair and all the stuff.
Yes.
And it's like, well, why? Like for what?
I know.
Like it's so interesting.
Is
And then
this
you grow up.
ideals?
Yeah. And then you grow up and you realize like, no, there's literally like so many different types of people like in the world that, you know, you're beautiful in your own way, no matter what. Right. And then you start to surround yourself with with people that, you know, attract like the energy that you attract. Right. And it just changes your entire worldview. You go to, you know, go experience different things, you get exposed to different things, but there's still always a little bit of that, like that competition where it's like, okay, now I'm in a new setting, I'm at work now and figuring out the work dynamic. Okay. This girl is the one that's, you know, two-faced or out to get everybody, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's always like something where you have to be aware of. And it's like, I wonder if like for men, if they feel that way too, if they go into a workplace and they're like, okay, I have to figure out this dynamic and like,
I think they have to have some self-awareness, you know, a level of like awareness of like where I'm coming in, because they may not be able to just come in and be like, I'm going to be myself. And then it's like, well, you have, then you have a team and the team is like not respecting you, or you're just the
that makes sense.
Clown office or things like that. Things have changed a lot where now we're embracing beauty, but then we need to look beyond the physical form, right? Like really, it's like I read the other day on Instagram, there was like a post of like things to say to a fellow woman that are not like physical oriented. And it's like, I like hanging out with you. Your energy is great. You know, I love how you radiate, you know, good vibes. I can't remember all of them, but And I was like, oh, that feels good. But so
Yeah.
often we're just like, oh, you look so pretty today, which is still, great. But if somebody says like, I like your energy, I like hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels even better.
That's way better. Yeah.
And the insecurity also as women, because I don't know if you ever done this, but I've done this and now I try to be so much more conscious about it, but I've done this a lot in the past where somebody will compliment like my pants or my shirt or something.
And you have to give it back.
No, well, yeah. Well, you always, it's like, oh, you look great too. Somebody's like, hey, you look great. Yes. They're like, hey, Dee, I love those pants, right? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I got them at Nordstrom Rack for like super great deal for like $5.
Yeah.
It's like she just complimented my pants, not where I bought them and if they were in sale. It's not like, hey Shelby, I like your shirt. Do you get it on sale? Do you get a great deal on it? How much did it cost you?
Yeah.
Do you pay tax on it or was it tax free? Like it's just like just say thank you.
Oversharing. Yeah.
Yes, the oversharing, which comes from like an insecurity of like, I need to make sure that, that I'm accepted in the crowd, the community, or they're gonna think that, I don't know, I bought it at the thrift store, which before it was like, oh my gosh, you shop at the thrift store? Like, no, you have to shop at all these other places. And now I'm not, I only shop at thrift stores. I love thrifting. But yeah, it's very challenging. Just the rivalry around women. And now I think everything is like to show ourselves, like just the competition of like, I have to be this persona, right? Like how am I going to show up? Because, again, I don't know, I have the name Betty, but Betty over here is doing it great and is doing what I want to do. And then women are like, well, do you have all the things that Betty has? Or you have, Betty went to Princeton and you went to community college. So what, and like I was literally telling a client this morning, I was like, we have 24 hours in the day, the same 24 hours that anybody you look up to has. However, you choose to take those 24 hours, it's completely up to you. And, without, then my client replied, well, that person has X, Y, Z. I'm like, yeah, but what are the steps you can take so that you have that same type of team?
Yeah.
So no, it's hard.
Yeah, totally. And the competition starts, like we were talking about, super early. And I think that, I don't know. It's like with social media and everything too. It's like what we were talking about earlier. It's like you only see such a small portion of what these people want you to see. And you have no idea what's going on like behind closed doors. And like Betty, might have all the resources in the world and all the opportunities, but she didn't start that way. Or maybe she did. There are a lot of people that start off with great opportunity and we're born into a family that have privilege. Yeah. Cool. But that doesn't mean that you can't also get there. And I think it's also like our gut reaction when we see somebody doing what we want is, why can't I have that too?
Yes.
Or they're taking away from me, right? Like because they have all these things, now I can't have those things because they took it.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole scarcity mindset that we get trapped in, where it's like, oh, I can't now. And you start putting yourself in these blocks and it's almost like an excuse, right? It's like, oh, I can't now because so-and-so already is doing that. And there's no way that I'll be able to compete with her. It's like, wait a minute. Like there's room for everybody.
There
like
is.
Betty Joe is not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
But maybe you are. Maybe you are going to attract different people than she would. Or, like everybody has something to offer. And it's just so interesting now because it's like, what are we competing for?
I know.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why are we so worried about what everybody else thinks versus
to have the followers? Probably.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I have, 500K followers.
Yeah.
And that is going to validate
what?
Just like that I am successful.
Yeah.
That I made it because I have everything. For right now, I really see like a lot of it is just like social media.
Yeah. It's a big part.
If I have 500,000 followers and people are constantly interested in my life, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
And
people aren't envious of me. I'm doing something wrong. Like,
yeah.
It's like you want everybody to be like a lust after your life. And it's like, why? Just live your life, live your life. And why do you, as everybody, feel the need to share everything on the internet? Like, you know what I mean? And I actually was talking to my mom about this too, because it's like my sister is a very private person and I respect that a lot. And she doesn't post stuff on the internet. It's mostly, and I'm not really like that either. Like I post stuff like business stuff. Like I don't share, what's going on in my life on there or anything like that. Just my friends know. But I was talking to her about like posting pictures of your kids. And like when I grew up, like we didn't have that opportunity. Like we didn't have the internet and, Facebook and crap to post pictures of us on. And I asked my mom, I was like, if we had this then, when we were growing up, would you be posting a bunch of pictures of us? And she goes, honestly, no. And I'm okay, let's talk about that because I'm super like, interested. It's like mothers are like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, it's like they use their kids as competition, right? It's like, look at how great my kids are. They're better than your kids. And it's like, we're just continuing this cycle. And it's also like, what if I grow up and I don't want that? What if I don't want, what if I want a private life? What if I didn't get to choose what went out there? And my sister is like the same way. She's like, I'm not posting pictures of my kid. Like, I'm not like, this is her choice. If she wants to put her pictures on the internet, she can do that when she grows up and has a phone, obviously but we'll raise her right and it won't be anything terrible. Of course.
But there's entire businesses built around your children.
Exactly. And targeted ads, everything.
So there's a lot of mom shaming through a lot of that. Look, this is, my kid doesn't watch TV or my kid doesn't eat this or my kid doesn't use video games and look at how perfect. And it's like, well, it looks very Pinterest and very pretty. Awesome. I don't know how it actually looks after. And if it looks like that, fantastic. More power to you. But like that looks very exhausting.
Yeah. Ew.
It's like stepper wife.
I was reading this. I was on this post about this like lady, she had newborns and she was breastfeeding. She was like showing like her cycle of like her kid was cluster feeding. So it was, she was up like every hour. It was a disaster, like every 20 minutes for a while. Oh my God. So she was like doing this time lapse video of this baby and her getting up or whatever. And then I started looking at the comments and I was like, I couldn't believe what I was reading. Like there was obviously some people on that were like, way to go, mama. Like, this is hard. Like, holy crap. Like, can't believe you're even alive.
Support.
Like super great and supportive and just like encouraging. And then there's people on that are like, oh, well, you really could stop this. And like all their opinions and all this stuff of like, and then one of them was like, and a baby shouldn't sleep with a hat on. And she responded with, do you see my baby sleeping in this photo? Like, baby's not freaking sleeping. That's the point of this whole video. The baby doesn't sleep. Like, eating. It was, all the time. Eating. Like, it was so interesting because it was just like, why do we feel the need to tear people down like that? Like, just shut
unhappy.
up.
Yeah, unhappy in their own lives. And they hide behind, behind social media, behind a phone or a computer. Yeah. And they just feel that they can.
Like, would you say that to her in real life? Would you walk up to that woman and be like, excuse me? So maybe some people would. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's also like, I get it if it's like a safety concern. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
If it's like, hey, but also like, send her a DM then. If you're that concerned. Like, I don't know. That just really
do it
pissed
tastefully, not. Yeah. There's a lot of that. Yeah. And it's just to cause more separation.
Yeah, totally.
Within the moms. Oh, it's horrible. Well, however, there is healthy competition.
All right, let's hear about it.
Yeah. Sometimes competition can inspire self-improvement.
Okay.
Your health conscious cubicle neighbor who cycles 10 miles to and from work might motivate you to pack an apple each day and go for a walk at lunch. Workplace rivalries may have other upsides too. They can make you more productive and engage in your work and inspire you to enroll in additional coursework that could bolster your resume or qualify you for a new role with your company. Okay. So, okay. Everything is kind of like work, right? And I was like,
okay. Like, I think, yes, healthy competition in any sense, like sports competitions or I think that's all healthy. And I never understood the whole like participant trophy thing. It's like,
What is that?
Doesn't work.
What do
Like
you
you
mean?
don't keep score, like for kids teams and stuff. Like you don't keep score. Everybody, it's just for fun. Everybody gets a participation trophy kind of thing.
No.
And I'm like, no, like that's not how the world works.
Screw that.
Yeah, like
I scored a goal.
yeah, you deserve to be
kidding.
validated for the hard work that you put in for building this team and doing the work.
Yeah.
But it's also like there's a difference in inspiration, right, and support and development and competition and like bringing everybody in. So I think that's valid because when you hear the word competition, I bet a lot of us immediately go negative.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there is that positive side of competition where it's like, I think it is super healthy to have a clear winner and a clear somebody that needs to improve. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And also like in the workplace, like that too, like that person worked their ass off and they deserve that promotion. Did you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You're there.
And then even like in friend groups too, it's like we all, coexist together and we support each other, right? If there is a clear leader of your pack, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like, so all these other women are just, striving to get this girl's attention or her approval or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's not friendship.
No,
Right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so it's interesting, like healthy competition. No, it should be like, okay, hey, this friend is super fit and healthy. Like she is killing it and motivating me to want to get fit and healthy.
Yeah.
That's support, that's inspiration. And then me going to that friend and be like, hey, like I really admire your work. What tips can you give me?
Oh yeah. More than likely if
Right?
you're a friend, she's gonna be like she's working out or running and all that. It's like, hey, well, I'll go and walk with you or come to the gym with me or whatever, and like include them, and now you have even better tools and tips for you to feel good.
Exactly. And then using that in competition at the gym.
Yeah.
Hey, I did 10 reps. You can do 10. If I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, beat me.
Yes.
Like I had a trainer do that for me and I was like, okay, like I can do that. Beat me. I did 10, do 11. Like I could do 11, like, it's like, it's competition, but it's like motivating competition.
Yeah.
It's not in a negative way.
Yeah. I'll still won't go to the gym with you.
God, I hate
He's like, give me 11. I did 10, do 11. I'm going to give you 5. I'm kidding.
I did 4 and I'm going to go to the smoothie bar. They have massages here.
Yes. I am on the way out. Go, girl, go.
It's like that episode of Friends when they want to quit the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Chandler
It's like
and
Maria
Ross.
is the one that takes the quitters or something. It's like, oh, don't leave me alone. So funny. All right. So how about in friendship? And this is one of the last things talking all this. So female leadership. I need to move this. Sorry, everyone. This last time that this is coming up here. Oh, sorry. Okay, so in friendship, female friendships aren't immune to competition. Maybe there's an outspoken member, which you were just talking about, of your group who routinely sets the tone for your social events. She might simply be an extrovert, or she
Regina
might
George.
be or she might be competitive. Some competition between alpha females can prompt personal growth. Other times it can become toxic.
Yeah.
If your competitive friend is causing you stress, it might be time to set some boundaries and have a conversation with them. It can also help if you view the situation through the lens of competition as flattery. If your friend sees you as the high bar to reach, it may help to keep it in as to take it in as a compliment.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. So, have you ever had a friend that like copies you? Isn't it just really, it's frustrating and it's annoying. And so when you're talking about that, like with flattery, it's like, I don't get flattered by that. I get irritated. And I'm like, dude, I formed my own opinion. I did my own, like this is who I am. This is authentically me. Like, why are you trying to take that from me here? Like you can like the same stuff as me, but it's clear that you're just buying this because I bought it, or, or like getting into this hobby because I like it or whatever. And I think for me, I don't like it when people are fake. And I think that's where I I get annoyed. It's like, dude, like just show up as you. I'll still like you.
Yeah.
I will still like you, And then I would find myself consciously thinking like, oh, am I copying this person because I like the same things as them? But it's like, no, like
It was the other way around.
yeah, it's like, wait a minute, like No, I'm allowed to like the stuff I
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? But it's like I found that a lot. And so when you're talking about like flattery or whatever, like that would be a red flag to me. As if I was like, oh, I must be so cool because so and so wants to do all the same stuff that I do. You know?
I have a funny story. This happened years ago. So one of my best friends, I haven't seen him in a while, but if I see him, I'll just hug him. And he's used to be one of my best friends. This is when I was married to my first husband, and they were stationed for like a weekend in San Francisco. So my friend and his girlfriend, who I could tell that she was trying like really hard for me to like her. And I did. She was, a little, I don't want to say annoying, but she was a little annoying. I'm sorry. Just because everything was like overly complimenting, and I like authenticity as well. Like I rather, you don't have to agree with me.
Yeah, I'd rather disagree with you.
Just disagree. Of course. So, and I had already kind of talked to her. I was like, oh, I love what you do. Oh, what? And she did all the things. This was her thing. She did, if I mentioned, oh, I went to Mexico and did something I played, she went and did it twice. Like better. She's the one-upper.
She's a one-upper.
Yeah, but it was just so, and I remember, we drove my car, I remember on a like a Thursday night up to San Francisco. So to meet like my ex-husband up there for the weekend. And then we're going to do like a couples, just kind of little getaway and go see some sights. So I drove with him and her up to San Francisco. Good thing it was nighttime because there was not a lot of chattering. Had a good time. It became a little much for me to constantly, I would say something, or I would be talking just like with people on the streets, like people that you meet, and she would chime in on every single thing. Everything was like, she's done it. She's been there. And all that. On the way back, it was the three of us again. And I remember we were driving through LA and there's a lot of traffic. I'm tired. We're all tired at this point. And I remember we're driving by an IKEA and she's all like, IKEA is over there. And my friend, her boyfriend at the time, starts to laugh. He's like, IKEA? It's called IKEA. And kind of making a little joke. So she had to make this whole story of why she says it that way. Because I think she felt like embarrassed in a way. But I was just like, whatever. And then I was just like so fed up. And so I used to work in the fashion industry for a long time. And then I mentioned, we're talking something about fashion, right? And she's done all the things. She's seen all the celebrities. She's met all them all. And I was just like, oh, there's these jeans. And I totally made up a brand.
Oh my God.
I made it up in the spot, like completely. And I said, oh yeah, we were, like we wore them and so and this and that. She's like, oh, I know exactly which ones you're talking about. And they like,
thanks for listening. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Witches Who Podcast.
Or the ones that had like the exclusive with like this bigger star, like on the pocket in the back. It's so like the bigger, there was a special, I remember she said like, there was like a special edition. Did you not see that special edition? And I was just like, oh, Lordy Lord. I was just like, yeah, okay. And it was horrible.
Did you tell her later, like, I made that whole freaking thing up?
No, but I did tell him.
Oh, you did?
I tell him. I was like, he's like, oh, Diana, that's just messed up. I was like, boy, your girl is messed up. Like she needs
to form her own opinion.
She needs to form her own opinion. Why not? I didn't say it like that. Like I like her. She was sweet and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's just that desperation to be liked.
And constantly she had to be like the loudest. She had to be the one that you could see. And she was cool. Like, and I never felt it with her at any competition. I just felt like she was probably more of trying to match and compete and be.
Yeah.
But I like him. He was one of my best friends, and but hanging out often wasn't.
That's exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So crazy things.
It's really funny. And then there's also like the people that bring that out in you. Like, have you ever been in like a situation where I can't think of anything right now, where it's like you find yourself being like that? And you're like, oh God, check the ego. Like,
yeah, it's
right.
Like mostly a long time ago. I think that now I'm like, I don't give a damn about anything. Yeah. So I was like, sure. And then I think I was with my husband one time. I don't know what happened. And I think it was around clothing or something. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that is. And Mike turns, he's like, you have like 2 in your closet. And I was like, oh yeah, because I can't remember what it was, but it's like, D, you would like that brand or something. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll check it out. And he's like, you have like 2. I was like, oh, okay.
I must like it then.
I do. Well, yay.
That's so great. I love that. It comes like all the way back around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I can think about like some times where like I've been consciously like, oh, like shut up. Nobody gives a shit that you've been to this place or whatever. Like just write it out. Like, why do you feel the need to share that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no,
You know?
I definitely have been, guilty for that.
Totally.
Absolutely. And it is sometimes it's almost like you get wrapped up in it, that the ego kicks in. And it's like, oh, I feel like I need to prove myself that I also did that, or that I also am worldly.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I'm
cultured.
I'm cultured. I have experience.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy.
It's like when people like to name drop all the time. It's like, I don't give a crap who any of those people, I have no idea who any of those people are. So like,
know.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that, because I had a student recently asking me because from the studio.
It's big in our industry, in the yoga industry for sure. It's like all these names of like, they're all similar. And I'm like, I don't know who any of those people are. Like, cool.
But the student was asking me, it's like, hey, are you going to Costa Rica? You know? And I was like, no, I'm actually not going to go. But my husband and I are thinking of doing a little getaway. And it's like, oh, you'll probably go somewhere exotic and wonderful. And they're like, oh, have you been to Puerto Vallarta? And I was like, I don't need to, it's like, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? And I was
The backyard in a tent.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I want a tent again so bad. But I was like, no, I don't need to. I was like, I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I'm okay. Will you go out of the country? I was like, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just left it as no. I think I said probably someplace in Mexico.
Yeah.
Because it's cheap.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's just so funny. It's like how we put our value in the weirdest things.
Yeah.
It's like it's interesting too, because it's a lot of people, I'll see this, or women specifically, change their personality based on who they're around. And it's like, is that a survival instinct? Like, what is that?
I think it is. I remember doing that when I was young, like trying to fit in, to not be kicked out of the group.
Yeah.
When
It's like you have to be socially accepted. You have to, be a certain way.
Yeah. And I remember being in some groups where the girls were mean. I did not last in that group very long. I was like, oh, this is not my vibe. I need to, kind of like just step away. But I think it's as we're growing up and trying to find ourselves and our tribe, who are going to be our people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. A lot of trial and error kind of thing.
it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I growing up, I had the same friends from like day one, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, granted, I've lived in Fallbrook my whole life, a very special, different kind of community. But I've also been, I don't feel like I've ever, obviously competition, just like being an adolescent and a teenager, like, yeah, you gossip, you do the crappy stuff that your teenage girl does. But I also remember being like, very much like, no, this is how I'm going to do things, or this is this. And if you don't like it, then don't be my friend. Like, I'd rather not have a ton of friends and have one or two friends that like really matter. And yeah, like my best friend growing up, Bree, she moved in next door, and we didn't even like each other at first. We were forced to be friends because our parents, we were neighbors. It was easy. And then we just became inseparable, and still to this day, like she's still one of my best friends. I talk to her all the time. And yeah, we went through all that together too. Like I was a jerk to her. Like, honestly, Brie, if you're listening to this, like, I love you and I'm sorry for the things we've talked all about it. Like, I remember like the one fight we had was because I was being a jerk and I wouldn't share my Starbucks with her. Oh, like I had a Frappuccino and I wouldn't let her have any, and she was just pissed at me. And I was like, why wouldn't I share? Because I was so cool because I got Starbucks and she didn't, which in reality, I should have asked him like, hey, I'm going to Starbucks. Do you want something? And I didn't. Yeah. That was a jerk move on my part. Instead, I had to show her that I was too cool with my freaking Frappuccino. I don't even know. And we got in this huge fight, and she walked home, and walking home. She lived next door.
Yeah.
But still, it was like
was-
this gesture, this huge gesture
Yeah.
of like, well, F you then, you know.
Bye,
like,
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving. And it was like, why did I feel the need to do that?
You were probably having a bad day. Something else was going on
Yeah.
within you that
So
you were just
weird.
like, well, you know, hormones if you were young.
Yeah, we were teenagers.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's like that competition, but it's also like she was my absolute best friend, closest friend in the whole world. And I still felt the need to compete in that way.
Yeah.
It's like so strange. Like never in a million years. She was always so accepting. Never in a million years would ever, you know, think to do anything like that, you know? And it's just so odd. Like why, like where did that even come from? You know, where does it come from to be in competition or to cause, you know, disrupt or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, it's just so interesting. But then you learn and you grow and you change and all those things. But yeah, I don't remember like kind of floating around and searching in that way. I kind of was always just very much like, this is this. And I think it was because I had horses growing up and I was just so enamored and like, that was what I did. Like I went to school to go to school. I didn't want to be there any longer than I had to, you know, because I had to get home. I had things to do. I had animals to take care of and I wanted to go and, you know, compete in barrel races. That was what I did. My sister too, and she still does. And I had, you know, that group of friends and just a really amazing community in that way, which again, there's competition right there. We all competed against each other, but we also were a team at the same time where, yeah, you had a faster time than me, but I'm so proud and excited for you.
That's
you know
your
what I mean?
healthy competition. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, where can I improve to do better in my
Like,
timing?
teach me, show me what you did, how you would do something, you know what I mean? And that was my example growing up, was that healthy competition. So I think that kind of really shaped a lot of how I operated in the world, which I'm super grateful for now looking back. And I think just animals in general, I think that entire kind of community can really do a lot for kids. Just that responsibility of having something else to take care of that's outside of yourself.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so interesting to think about how the world shapes us in that way.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? And then there's all that unlearning that we have to do. And then there's this huge movement for sister circles and sisterhood and all this stuff, which I love. But it's like, when you're going to be a part of something like that, like make sure that it aligns, right? Like if you
Absolutely.
get into a group and it's like, you know, I think I shared this in the very first episode about the yoga studio that I went to that was just not, was not my vibe, and for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, it's like you get into these sisterhoods that claim to be
All inclusive and they're not.
and they're not. And it's all these, excuse me, but all these little white bitches in white, like, you know what I mean? With long curly hair that are the goddesses. It's like, who the F are you? You know what I mean? It's like, where did you learn this stuff? Like, what are you preaching here? Like, are you like, no, you're worried about your image. You want to have a pretty picture with, you know, that looks like these goddesses, you know, you just the gold and the white flowing dresses. And that's what you want. You want the image. You don't want the actual connection, right? Like, I think that's something that's so special about our community is we all just show up as we are, you know, like we have gatherings or we all hang out, and it's like, I feel like I need to dress up less to go there than I do for like my husband. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just going to show up in my pajamas and you all are going to be,
And they accept you.
Yeah. Then nobody even thinks twice about it, you know, or whatever. And I just love how accepting and true, and we're all so different and share. And even if we have opposing opinions, which a lot of us do, we still hear and hold space for each other. And it's not a competition. And that's like, I'm so grateful for every single lady. I know a lot of you listen to this podcast, like love you guys so much. It's so special to me. We've gotten so close over the years too. But I just think about that a lot, because I think for a lot of women, we're searching for community. Like we're searching for a tribe. And I think that's where a lot of the competition comes in, is we're competing to feel
included. Yeah, and empowered, not, you know, so that healthy competition of like, I'm having doubts about this and you're doing it so well. And it's just like, no, you're gonna do amazing. And it happens because, you know, I provide Reiki attunements, and it's like, sometimes I hear it's like, oh, Dee, I'll never be as good as you. I was like, girl, I don't even think I'm that great. One, but I'm like, two, you're gonna be better.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're probably going to be better. And it's just practice and trust yourself. And I'm always rooting for them. And just knowing like, I'm not a guru. I'm not somebody like you need to look up to in any way. I'm like, I am proud of you for being here, for taking interest in this. And I'm here to support you.
Yes.
And if you are scared or nervous, I want you to talk to me so we can see, you know, how you can navigate this. But there's that's why it's hard, because I had that like looking up to my Reiki master practitioner. I was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to be like her one day and things like that. And I am like her in a lot of ways, but I couldn't be further from how she is. And I love her and adore her. But we're just different people. I found my way, and that's what I encourage everyone to do. And I feel like what you're saying about the circles, we all want to feel that we're part of something, that we're part of a community. Just like you said, the village. We want our village and be supported and feel supported and show up in our most authentic self and be like in the pajamas and be like, I'm having a rough day. Okay, what can we do? Yeah. Versus like, oh, do you see Shelby? She was wearing her pajamas and looked like crap.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what's going on with her? Well, next time maybe she should not come.
Exactly.
Versus any of that. It's like, hey, how can we help you? What can we do? And that's really something beautiful that we do have with our community here. And to all the girls in the sisterhood with us, is just to Sister Act 2. We love you and we support you and we just think the world of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you that are listening that are like, how the heck do I become a part of this? Reach out.
Yes. Join our Patreon.
But also like you'll find your tribe. Like show up and be authentically you. And your people will find you. You know what I mean? Like stop the search. Like call off the search and do the inner work. And that's when those people that really align with your frequency will start showing up, you know? And you know, there's so many different things that you can do. Like we were talking about Reiki and just that like if that's something that interests you, go do a Reiki training. What about yoga? Go
climbing, whatever that is.
Just go do the things that interest you, and you'll start meeting people in that way. It's like, how do you make adult friends? You know what I mean? It's like you just go do the things that you want to do, and you meet people through that. And talking a little bit more about the competition too. It's like as a teacher, like you're teaching people. Like I lead yoga teacher training, so it's like I'm teaching these teachers, they're going to be my peers. And it is the most incredible thing in the world. It's even being a leadership development. These people that I'm developing are going to be my peers. And that is so incredible to me that I got to influence and inspire these people to broaden and grow. And now they get to stand side by side with me and move on and grow and expand in different ways. Like, and I don't see that as this person is now taking a class or my spot or whatever that should have been for me. It's, my gosh, look at like the influence and how I inspired them to find themselves, to find their authenticity, to find their voice or whatever it is. Like in a way, it's like, is that selfish? Because it's like you're doing the selfless act or whatever, but it's also like, gosh, look at how amazing they're doing. And I played a small role in that.
Absolutely.
You know, like that's super validating to me.
Absolutely. I remember a long time ago, somebody said like, D, you shouldn't be attuning people because you're going to lose all those clients. Now you're just making like other people able to, and I was like, there's more than enough.
Yeah. It's like, what is the purpose? What is our mission here on this planet? Yeah. Right? To expand, to grow, to elevate everybody all the time. Like that means expanding the work. If you really believed in Reiki and you really believed in the work that you're doing, don't you want more of it? Absolutely. Don't you want the message to be widespread? Absolutely. Like think of the people that you would never have reached that they did. Yes. Right? Yes. That's how you leave an impact. That's how you make a broader impact. Yeah, you know, like how do you get people out of that mindset?
I don't know. I think it's just their own fears of like, oh, you know, like there's only a certain pool of people that you could, enough. That's just enough. You know, there's 300,000 people and that's all there is. It's like, no, and we're not everybody's cup of tea. So having more practitioners out there, you know, passionate about what they do and their healing process and helping others, which is a job of service, right? To be of service. It's what we want. And kind of to bring it back to like competition in like the witch era, right? It was in order to not be burned, I may have to speak up for, against somebody so that I
else,
wouldn't be burned. Well, so that somebody
Take
else
the attention
will.
off me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is very unfortunate,
Yeah, it's
but it
sad.
happened. And until this day, we just urge everybody to just, be kind.
Yeah.
Be kind. There's more ways, and you
Yeah.
don't.
There's room for everybody. And when you start to look at the world that everything is energy, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, shift the mindset into it's all energy. Money is energy. Everything is energy. So there's infinite energy in the world, in the universe.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody.
Yep. And we all have that technology and that tool to be able to access it. So stop the unhealthy competition and
Yeah, you're just
Be a
putting
friend.
yourself in a box with the competition, right? You're just blocking yourself. You're cutting off your channels
yeah.
and making it harder on everybody.
Oh, true. All right. On that note, do we have anything else or?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like I could talk about this topic forever. Like literally forever. There's just so much here.
So for the
Yeah.
listeners, let us know how have you experienced maybe some competition?
Yeah.
Maybe even unhealthy competition or a healthy competition.
Totally.
Let us know what you have gone through.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many different dynamics too, like sister to sister, mother, sister, mother, daughter. Like there's so many dynamics, right, between women that we could dive deep into for sure. But I want to hear from you guys for sure. Let us know
Absolutely.
different dynamics and different competition that you've been a part of, and healthy ones, like maybe things that have motivated you that have like led to a really cool story. But definitely reach out, witcheswhopodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear all about you, your stories. Of course, if anything weird has happened or spooky, we gotta know. Sin pics if you've got them.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, join our Patreon for more amazing content. Dee does weekly card readings every single week, every Monday. Also energy updates and upgrades. There's really cool libraries full of meditations and frequencies and activations. And I'm starting to build a spell
Oh my gosh, I'm so
catalog,
excited.
which is really fun. So join us for sure. Lots more stuff to come. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Perfect. Well, remember we drop episodes every Thursday, so keep an eye out. All right. Besitos. Till next time. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow us on social media @Witches Who Podcast.